Mrs. Castle here, and we are going to talk about watercolors. And one of our first experiments with watercolor is going to be a color wheel, just like we did with the acrylic paint. So first off, you're going to need several supplies. You're going to need a compass again. You're going to need a watercolor set, although you're only going to use the red, the yellow, and a blue, either the turquoise blue or the blue. You're going to need a pencil, and you're going to need a water dish, and a brush. This brush is more bristly that I used for the acrylic, and this is a watercolor brush, because we can tell because it's, you know, the bristles are very, very soft, and these are more stiff because you need a stiffer brush to spread the water, spread the acrylic, and the watercolor, need a brush like this. It's gonna hold on to the water a little bit better with the pigments in it. So one of these brushes with fluffy soft bristles is going to be better for the watercolor. All right, so what are watercolors? Watercolor is a painting method in which the paints are made of pigments suspended in a water-based solution. Different from acrylic, that's in an acrylic polymer emulsion. This is water-based solution. Watercolor refers to the medium. This is the medium, and the resulting work. So my favorite media to paint with is watercolor, and so I also call my paintings watercolors. So that's the way that works. Don't ask me why. I was not there when that thing was decided. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is make another circle, and I'm going to aim for the middle, and I'm going to again go for like a 2.5 inch circle. I'm going to go around as far as I can, then I'm going to come around the other way. Okay, I did pretty good getting it in the middle. Okay, and again, 6 sections. So I'm going to kind of make an X. And then I'm going to go down the middle, aim for that spot, and go down the middle. Not quite as good as my acrylic one, but that's all right. So again, I'm going to label my primary colors, red, yellow, and blue. Even if I use the turquoise, and I am going to use the turquoise, I'm still going to label that blue because it is a blue. Okay. So this time we're going to do a little bit differently. I'm definitely going to paint this section red, this section yellow, and this section blue. But I want you to layer the colors using the watercolor instead of mixing them for this experiment. So I'm going to label this section red plus yellow. And we all know that makes orange by now. I hope you know that. Okay, we're going to label this section yellow plus blue. This way it's a little bit different than the acrylic way. And blue plus red. Okay. So, and I might change my brush. We'll see how it goes. I usually use a round brush when I paint with watercolors, and I'm gonna get my watercolors a little bit damp, not soaking wet. I'm just taking a drop of water and painting that on top. It's barely even enough to get color on my brush. I'm going to let that sit for just a minute. While I'm waiting, I'm going to put my name on this, name and period. And I also need a paper towel. Say my period is good period. Okay, needed a paper towel. Excuse me. paper towel to wipe off any excess water, because we do need water to make the watercolor spread, but we don't want a ridiculous amount of water, because that'll make everything run all over the place. And while we're talking materials, this is a piece of watercolor paper, and if I kind of tilt it around, you might be able to see the texture on it. Some watercolor paper is very smooth. This happens to have some texture to it, and it just depends on what kind of an effect you want as a watercolorist. I kind of like the texture on my paintings. I think it sometimes helps grab the color a little bit better. Okay, so let's paint. Now, since I'm going to layer my colors, I'm going to paint this section red, and this section red. So I'm going to wet my brush a little bit. Don't flip the brush and get water on the table. Just going to dip my brush and touch it to the side. And I'm going to get wiggling around. I'm not pressing very hard in there. I'm not grinding the brush in. I'm just wiggling it around, and you can see the color in my brush. And there's nothing wrong. A lot of people think that watercolors should be really, really, really super light. That can come in handy, and I have done a painting that is super, super light because that was the assignment. But since we're working with color, let's have it be color for this part anyway. And we're gonna do an experiment where we make different values of color, because there's value in color also, not just black and white, but there's color has value as well. And this is gonna take some waiting. So I've got that part done. Oh, and I'm rinsing my brush. I'm tapping gently on the bottom of my water container, touch off the excess water. And I still had a little bit of paint left in there, if you can see that very, very, very pale pink. I'm gonna rinse again. There, that's better. Now my brush is clean. Okay, this is still wet, and I don't want to put wet color next to wet color because it runs. I might let you do some experiments with putting random colors next to each other and see. That's kind of fun. You can see which colors attack other colors and which colors run away. It's going to take a while. So I'm going to cut this part out. One way to tell if the paint is dry or not, if any of it is shiny, it is definitely still wet. If it's not shiny anymore, then it's definitely dry. When I touched it, I got red on my fingers, and I can see my fingerprints in the paint. So don't do that. This part is dry. This part looks still wet, and yeah, I got paint on my finger. So, okay, next I'm going to do my yellow part. I'm going to paint yellow on top of my red. I'm going to paint yellow in my yellow section, and then yellow on my blue. Now, actually, I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to do the blue part first. Now, stop and kind of pay attention where you are painting colors, because if you mess it up, you'll have to start over. So blue, blue, and blue, okay? More blue, because that's too light. And watercolor should be transparent, especially the watercolor sets that we've got. There, oops, look what happened there. Because the watercolor is about always water soluble, we want to be careful about brushing across from a painted area into an unpainted area, especially on our watercolor. I wasn't thinking, so I'm going to keep this part, separate. It probably wasn't very dry when I started. It was dry enough to touch, but not to put my color next to each other. Okay. I'm kind of rushing. So try to keep your colors separate. If they run a little bit, it's okay. But if it's a tidal wave across your paper, that's not so okay. Okay, I'll be back. I'm going to get the hairdryer out and I'm going to dry this and I'll be right back. All right, now, oops, wrong brush. I'm going to get some yellow. And just like in acrylics, yellow is our weakest color, which is why I decided to do the red part and the blue part first, so I can use more yellow on top of my yellow, or on top of my other colors, and get good colors. Because if I use too much red or too much blue, it's going to kind of hide the yellow, and it's going to be, oops, got a little chunk of yellow there. Don't want chunks of color on your paper. Okay, now I'm going to gently put the yellow on top of my red. Oops, don't do that. We do not want foreign colors in. Do not mix up the colors by dipping in one and the other. That makes me really, 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 really cranky. Okay, so now I'm going to take my yellow and I'm going to paint it on top of my turquoise, which is okay if we call it blue, gently, so I don't disturb a lot of the blue. So now, there's my basic, I knew it. See, even I can mess up, but we can fix it a little bit. I wiped some of the red off first, or that green off first, and then I put the red on. If you mix, okay, so be careful. Even I can get carried away and make some mistakes. So you got to be extra special careful. All right, so there's my color wheel. I know this is not the best purple in the world, and no, you may not use the purple from here, but I want you to mix I want you to mix a color by layering colors. And layering is painting one color on top of the other. We get a pretty good orange, and we get a really nice green with the turquoise. So when you're done with this, put this on the drying rack, dump out your water dish, but first make sure your brush is nice and clean. And you can put the watercolor set back with the other watercolor sets. If yours has a lid, don't close the lid, because we want air to get to this so it can dry out a little bit, so it's not soppy mushy for set 6th and 7th period. All right? Okay. Talk to you soon. Thanks for watching.